back to the Burke Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. With me today is Ford.
Hey, how are you?
And Dan.
Hey, everybody.
And we are continuing our conversation about the for us, for you, for them. And today we're going to dig a little bit more into the for you piece. So,
for you, this is singular, plural. It is the individuals within the us. This is what everyone does to be able to make it the best place for you to be part of a team. Right.
Yeah, it's our people, right? I mean, that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about the individual summation that forms the us. It's our folks.
Right. And for me, the plural part comes from, it's not just for our folks, it's for their family as well. You know, everything that is them outside of work, so that it's a place that provides for them in a way that their individual you, as well as their group, their family, their home life is better, you know, because they're a part of us.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one was interesting for me, especially as I got a little more insider knowledge to some of the stuff that's coming out. But as I listened to some of the stuff that our folks were saying, so part of this, it was we got some of their feedback, right? We did some interviews, and we sort of dug into what our people had to say. Some of our people had the opportunity to contribute, and this one was interesting for me because I think we value our people. And one of the things that I think we do really well is we try and put our people in a place where they have opportunities for success. But to hear their perspective on it was really interesting. So a lot of our guys had the chance to sort of share that. And it was interesting for me to hear guys like Andrew Geezy or guys like Shay talk about why we're different than some other places. And, we had a guy, a laborer, a guy who came from another company. He was a laborer, and he said something, like, how hard is it to get seat time when you're a laborer trying to become an operator, and you're at a site where there's a lot of senior operators. There's a lot of guys who know what they're doing. And he said, it's basically impossible. A lot of places you don't get that chance. And he was talking about being put in a position for an opportunity for success here in a way that he hadn't seen, at least at other places.
Well, I think that ties to, JD, and JD, when he goes on a job site, like, he'll grab the shovel and so will Joe, and they'll have the young guy running the piece of equipment. That's giving them time in there, and it's allowing them to learn. And, for the you part, there's like the two sides of it. It's the opportunities that we try and allow people to learn on their own. That's part of also not having, allowing people to grow. And then it's also about different benefits that we can offer to the team for their health or different things like that. So like there's a two side of this. It's about in the field side and what we can do for that. And then it's also in the side from the administrative side where we can actually try and, offer them things that maybe a traditional company doesn't. Maybe some companies don't offer a match on their 401k, so they have retirement. Things of those natures also ties into that, because that's part of the you too, because I know that it's always funny when you're hiring somebody and you can tell if they're single or if they have a family. Because if they're single, they come in, they're like, how much am I going to get paid? You work on a rate, and that's all they care about. You hire somebody or try and talk to someone that has a family, and somewhere behind the scenes, they want to see the sheet of what the benefit package is, because that's as important to them as the dollar figure is, because they have more things to think about. So it's always, you can kind of, without asking questions, you can kind of find out where the person is in their personal life just by what questions they ask in an interview process. And so this is like both sides of the same coin there.
Yeah. And what's interesting here is the core values, are so key for us, for you, for them. Right. And we talked about it previously, but when you get to the for you piece of this, it really becomes important, because as Ford's saying, it's about what you do. It's about getting more opportunity. It's about learning. It's about growing in your roles. It's about the benefits that we offer. It's about all those things. It's about the little things. It's about what we do outside of this. You know what I mean? Whether it be taking guys places or or, the Reading Phillies or the Corn Maze or any of the things we do to try and really engage our team and then at times engage their family. And it's so central to being who we want to be. And it also, goes back to one of the things we were looking at is like, here's our core values and here's how we think they apply. How does that make us different? Like, how are we trying to be different? And not trying to be different like we're a differentiator that we're trying to differentiate, but rather shining a light on how we are different, And we are different in ways in the us, and we are certainly different in the ways of you, and the opportunity that we give guys, the number of guys that we have who came in and learned the skills they have is very high. We did not bring in a lot of seasoned guys because that was difficult, and we just sort of figured it out. We brought in seasoned guys who were willing to train people. And when we find that, it was really one of our best culture fits, because we've discussed it for a long time that when we're able to put a very experienced person with a hungry and very inexperienced younger person, you get a great combination because you get somebody who's willing to work and can help and be effective with the experienced guy, and the experienced guy respects that person's just willing to show up and do their job and try and be the best they can, and they invest in them. And then that just goes right back to the us. So it is hard to separate these three, but I think there's, you is a big part of it, because if we don't have our people, we don't have anything.
Right. Yeah, that's the key component there. I think the people are who we are. The people are what creates the us. Something I was thinking about, we talked a little bit in the last podcast about why sometimes it's challenging to talk about the us because of perspective, because when you start saying what's the us, who's the us, who's Burke Construction, what's in it for us, so to speak, or even the you, like what's in it for me, what's in it for the individual, you start to sort of twist the perspective a little bit. And I think what's hard about the you conversation though is all we've really done is we've created a framework, and the framework has said internally and intentionally that we know we are nothing without our people. So we're going to do everything in our power to create a situation that promotes success for them individually and their families, because it is what creates a good team. The hard part is, like all of the things that we've done is sort of we hope it works. we
a wing and a hope and a prayer here,
but we think it's the right approach, right? we kind of taken the approach like, we think this is good for our people, and we adapt a lot. We add things in, we change things up, from benefits packages to training opportunities to mixing up our crews, like you were just saying there, Dan. Like, how do we get inexperienced people who can pull inexperienced people up with them? But some of it is just us trying to like create the scenario, hoping it works. And what's been for me like kind of neat about this whole idea of trying to piece these things together to tell this story is we didn't necessarily 100%. We had a good idea that it was working, but we didn't 100% know until they started telling us it was working. So that's been good. And we talk about this. It doesn't work every day. It doesn't work every week. Sometimes it doesn't work every month. But in general, it's working.
Well, I think that's the, structure. Again, back to that as being a big part of it. Things that, maybe someone isn't the best fit for the team. And, we try and give them opportunities. Maybe we'll transition crews for them. Maybe they just need the right fit. And that's all part of trying for the you. Like, we want to give everyone as much rope as or as many shots as they can get, because if we're going to want to be have them part of us as a team, we want to make sure that they have that shot. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but we want to, sometimes people just need a little adjustment, or people need a little adjustment of who they have to work with on a daily basis. You never know what the scenario is, but it's trying to really, once somebody joins our team, trying to find the best place for them to be able to succeed as long as they want to be with us.
Yeah. So we're going through this a little bit right now with a couple different people who, Blair is very good at a lot of things, and she works with safety for us, and she does a lot for us there. But just recently we had Blair that Blair can write very well. And, you know, she can do that sort of thing. We needed something done. And I said to Blair, can you do it? And quickly Blair turned it around, delivered it back to me. And I made no corrections. I handed it to you, Bri. I said, hey, Bri, take a look at this. Let me know what you think. I didn't actually read the original thing that was written because I said the original one didn't say exactly what I think we wanted to say. And I read Blair's and it did. You know, so that's been a hallmark we've talked about with Ford as he built Berg Construction, that he identified people, fits, that he thought would work well together in the us to build a really strong us, and then allow them to grow into it and allow them to flourish in spots they can. And we're doing that with a few people where we say like, okay, it may not be the right fit here, but let's pull that back out, shift this one over here, try and move this here, because it is about, you know, that's you. That's trying to help the you to say this person fits. So let's find a spot that benefits them as a person, as a work environment. It's one of the reasons we're big on predictive index. And it's one of the reasons we use it is because we can have a better understanding of who the you is, like who are you, and then try and put you in a position where you can succeed. Because if you find a person that's willing to be part of the team, that wants to engage and wants to be empowered, you just then have to find the right spot for them. And once you do, they'll excel. And at that point, it's not hope anymore. Now you have a plan, you know? So it's a funny thing going back to that hope is not a strategy thing. It's not, but it is a plan. It is a plan that we say we believe in this person and we're going to find a spot that it benefits them as a person, it benefits the you, and it benefits us. And when we do, then we succeed.
Yeah, it's interesting. Listening to some of the for you, right? So some of our guys talking about why they enjoy Berg or why they like Berg for them, as individuals. Somebody said something, and I'm failing right now at the top of my head to remember who it was, but they said, you spend way more time at work than you do pursuing your individual pursuits by and large, right? And that's true. I mean, you think about how much time we spend in our working lives. And they said, there's a lot of places you could be and a lot of things you could be doing, but you don't want to be doing something if there's nothing in it for you. And that means different things to different people, especially like you were saying, Ford, depending on where they are in their phase of life. But I think that the for you piece, being sort of a leader for us in how we sort of approach what we're trying to accomplish here, really shows, because it creates that cultural fit, like you're saying, Dan. And this isn't the right fit for everybody. And we've had some of that. And we usually look for an opportunity to bring people along, look for an opportunity to find the right spot for them. I think, Ford, you say something like find the right seat on the bus a lot, right? It comes from somewhere, I forget.
It's another book.
Yeah. But it's not the right fit for everybody, but for a lot of people, it's a really good fit. And when we find the really good fit, then it makes sort of the wheels on the bus go round.
We start singing, but I mean, I think that we talked about this in a previous podcast a long time ago. We had some people come join our team, and we were so different that they literally left because they just couldn't fathom what was going on here. And we're all digging dirt. There's nothing unique about that, but just that they had come from a different style of organization and they were so comfortable in that style that they just couldn't adjust. We talked about how, Scott, took him a while and he was a little nervous in the beginning, and now he adjusted to it. But there's so many people that aren't used to that it is disarming at times. And that's part of this too, trying to show the difference. That's not the word I was going to use, but I couldn't say it. But that what we're trying to do compared to maybe some of the other people or other opportunities people have to work at.
Well, and you hit on something too, Brian, generationally, things are different. I was having a conversation with Scott Gross today, and we were talking about differences in generations and, some things we're working through. And that is a piece of this, is to say, there's a lot going on right now with people trying to evaluate the value of their employment, the value of work. They say millennials, if you're like broadening it, they say millennials like want to impact the world. Like they want to impact the world in a positive way quickly. Generation X, my style was more like that they just work through, and then you got to work to a point, and at some point you hope that you can impact or affect the community in a good way. And then the youngest of the generation coming in, they've never known anything but a labor shortage. They've always been in the driver's seat, so they're more inclined to have expectations on wages and benefits. And when I started, you started with no vacation, not here, but I mean in general, in principle. Like you would work your way to that. Now it's they're talking about 4-day work weeks and like sabbaticals. Like it's changed, and so. That's part of it, is figuring out like what we want to be. Because if you find the right people and you get them in the right seats on the bus, all those things sort of just fall in line because of culture, and it was going back to some of the other things that we looked at before we settled into For Us, For You, For Them. That was one of the reasons, is because there's some other things that I really think do speak to our culture of just getting things done, just right. People who want to come to work and they feel good about it. They're not coming to work because they have to. And I mean, all of us have to come to work. Sure. That's the way the world was built.
Let's be real. Each one of us needs a paycheck.
We need
right?
a paycheck. You have to get paid. You have bills to pay. You have things you want to do and a lifestyle that you want to live. But so I'm not saying that we're all independently wealthy and we don't need to come to work. But there's a lot of options of where you could go to work and how you could make a living. And we want to create an environment and shine a light on that environment and say, the way Berg is going to operate is going to be that we're all going to be part of a team that you want to be part of. In this era where people are starting to work from home and a lot of people don't want to go back to work and they're happier not being in the office. I can't fathom that. Like, it's partly probably my personality that I like to engage with people, but it's also who is inside these four walls and who I interact with as I go out and meet the big us, the people that actually make the work get done, that I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like there's nobody that I walk on a site and I'm like, oh boy, I don't want to have to deal with this. You know what I mean? Like, because that's not what we're building. You know what I mean? We're building something that I want to come to work, and I certainly hope that we're building it in a way that all the people on the bus, they want to come to work. You know what I mean? They're not coming because they're being forced to.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can do in life during a paycheck. Right. And you can be happy, you can be miserable. And, we're not trying to create fantasy land here. It's not always a great day. It's not all jokes and laughs. And there's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of hours at times to make sure jobs get done to the level of expectation that our clients expected, that we expected, the level of expectation that we want to produce individually. We want to, turn around. But I think that there's opportunity for success. People are given the chance to really show what they're made of, and to be proud of what they're doing, and to be treated fairly. Yeah,
and even when you talk about the freedom that we encourage to speak up, like if you disagree with Brian or I, come tell Brian or I, and that it's not a confrontational statement. It's you could very well be right. You know what I mean? So then tell us. We really do try to empower people as part of our culture to say, I'm not the smartest man in the room. I don't necessarily have the best idea. Just because I talk loud and fast does not mean that I'm right. So that becomes part of the you, is building a culture where each person feels empowered enough to come in and sit down and have a conversation and speak up and say, whoa, I think we should do this a different way, or what are we thinking? Or even just ask a question. And if we can do that, I think you create an environment where you want to come to work and you want to be part of a team and you want to succeed and help the greater good to make us better, so that we can go out and we can reach out to our community and do good things that really impact every day when you're out there.
Yeah. Our people do some cool stuff, and they've got some cool things to say about it. I look forward to some of that information coming out as these stories get told. That's for sure. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for joining us, folks. We hope you had a good one, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.